Alright, guys, let's start our adventure in Terra Invictus. Uh, Using mostly Shadowdark rules. I am going to house rule some stuff. I got some house rules I really love using. I've played enough RPGs to kind of know some of the things I like to focus on, some things I like to hand wave. Whatever, those things will come up when we play. I'm just going to jump in. I'm going to kind of try and do my best to run you through my process. I will screw some stuff up. I don't, whatever. Like, we're just going to wing it and go for it. So, this is kind of my marching order. We have Orgo, the dwarf, in the front, with Nura, our ranger, also in the front. Krell is kind of in the middle, and Renariel in the back. I generally run them like two up front, two in the back, but if we go single file, I'll go like that. I kind of like having the wizard protected a little bit. Uh, doesn't come into play too often, but we'll see what happens. This is the beautiful Terra Invictus map I just printed up. Crappy copy. We are recommended to start in one of the three starting towns. I don't like to do that. It kind of goes to why I was giving them really, really cheap gear. I like to start real minimal. It's like they're just trying to survive the first whatever. So I'm gonna go Morio. I think is beginning, um, one of the beginning towns you can start your adventure in. I'm gonna start a few hexes south of that. So let's go D4 plus 1 hexes south. So 4 hexes to the south of Morio is going to be 1, 2. Oh, let's go. I see. Maybe that's too much. Maybe let's zigzag. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 3, 1, 9. We will start in hex 3, 3, 1, 9. Day 1. 3, 3, 1, 9. I don't know anything yet. We're going to say we're starting in the morning, and we're just going to see what happens. 3319. So each hex has a little notation. This is how Terra Invictus works. He gives you a little bit of information, and you kind of build it out from there. The first thing we see, and I don't put a whole lot of stock in this, the first thing we see is weather. You get to read the weather. Light rain throughout the day, cool downdraft from the north. So light rain, not going to bug us too much. And then the next thing is, I can't remember what it's called. Oh, first look. First look. Frontier Village. Okay. Oh, okay. So we're already at a village. Is that good or bad? I think it's bad. 3 small villages are tucked away in these rocky hills. They're surrounded by small plot farms with herds of sheep grazing on the hilltops. The very first thing we do when we go into a hex, and Chubby Funster, the guy who created Terra Invictus, recommends you just roll a random encounter, and that's what you get. You do that encounter. I kind of don't like that, but I also see where he's going with that. So generally you'd for a random encounter to happen, generally you roll a d6 and on a 1, a random encounter happens. So I kind of split the difference. When you first enter a hex in this, I roll a d6 and on a 1, 2, or 3, there's an encounter. On 4, 5, 6, I go on whatever. And then further in, like if I'm rolling for more random encounters as I'm traveling through the hex, then I go back to just a 1 is a random encounter, not 1, 2, 3. But on a 1, 2, or 3, we'll start off with a random encounter. And there's a 3. I was kind of hoping we did. You can see that? Good. Let's see what our random encounter is. They're not always bad. 3. A teenage boy running away from home will join the PCs as a servant. A lot of different ways we could go with that. The honest truth is, I don't think I really want a servant. And we haven't even been to this village yet. I think we're going to try to convince him this is not the way. I don't even need like any details on him yet, because what I really want to do is just get him back to his home. So that's going to be kind of our first. That's going to be kind of our first thing. So I'm going to take Nura, who is our ranger and who is our kind of our party leader and also the one with the high charisma. And I'm going to do a charisma check for her to. This is where I, as a solo player, I like to make rolls to decide things. Some people would take this and go, okay, I'm going to do voices and role play, like what's she going to say and what's he going to say. And for me as a solo player, I don't like to get into that too much. Like I said, I kind of like to do combat and just like, I hate to say treat it like a video game, but a little bit. So for me, here's this kid. She's going to try and convince him to come with, and I have a backup plan too, but she's going to try and convince him not to do this. Buddy, this isn't the right thing to do. Let's go find your parents. She's going to use her charisma. I think this one would be pretty easy, so I'm going to go an easy check, which is a DC 9 charisma, and she has a +3. So we roll a D20 for that, not a D6. So she needs not much, a 6 or something, a 4. So she didn't actually convince him. He's a little bit of a cranky feller. I'm gonna then have Renario, my elf, who doesn't have a high charisma, but he's gonna try it in a slightly different way, and he's like, all right, fine, like let's go. Sure, you want to help us out? Help us out. Join us, walk with us. And he's going to do it kind of like a 5e would be, I would call it a deception check. I don't even know if I need to roll it, but I guess I will since I already said it. So he's just going to try and convince him, sure, kid, like, you come with us. But really what we're going to try and do is make our way back to his village to help him out eventually. I guess I don't need to roll for that because that's what he wanted, right? He wanted to help us. So sure, grab up whatever. We don't even have an extra weapon to give this kid. Come with us, help us out. And on that note, I'm already at a little bit of a weird situation because what I want to do is get back to the village. I don't think he wants that. I think he wants to do something, right? He's like, oh, these adventurers, I want to run away from home. We're not going to get him to go right back to the village, are we? So we also want to make sure he doesn't die, and we're probably all going to die. What happens if I roll another random encounter right now? Generally, okay, so here's another thought. We do a hex takes 4 hours, and the rules say you can do 2 hexes in a day. This is in the Shadowdark rules. You can travel for 8 hours in a day. I kind of don't like that because if you have difficult terrain, it doubles, so you can do 1 difficult terrain hex in a day or 2 regular. And then there's arduous, which I think is way worse than difficult terrain, and that's also 1 day. So I'm going to play it like you can get 3 regular hexes. You can go 12 hours, but you need the other 12 hours to sleep, eat, rest, hunt, things like that. So I'm going to say we can do 3 regular hexes in a day, 2 difficult terrain, or 1 arduous. That's how I'm going to play it. So sorry, I'm already kind of going against the rules, but that math works out in my head way better. So even still, it's 4 hours, and we check once every, it's not every hour, I think it's once every 4 hours. So I think I'm just going to do 1 more random encounter check in this hex, and then I think we're going to try the discovery thing. Oh, good, I wanted it. Actually, I wanted, so what is our random encounter? We're not going to do the boy again. We'll do whatever else comes up. 5. An abandoned, well, this is nothing. An abandoned barrel of black pitch resting against a boulder. I was hoping for a fight. I don't think there's a fight in this hex. What would the black pitch be? Is there anything interesting here? This is one I might just totally ignore. Darn it. So we're going to find this village The boy's going to be kind of pissed at us, but whatever. Most of the adult males in these villages have been killed in combat. Oh. And they're now occupied by several dozen soldiers. He's taxing them to the edge of starvation, and most of the villagers realize the situation is unsustainable. It's a dangerous situation, and most of these people would flee if they could. Well, holy crap, I don't like this at all. No wonder this kid ran away. So, here's what I think, actually. I'm going to retcon this a little bit and say the reason this kid was running is because of this, right? He's running to try to get help. And we're probably the help, but we're way too weak right now to battle several dozen soldiers, and I don't know that I want to fight this battle anyway. So let's get this kid somewhere else. And guess what? We were heading somewhere else anyway. So we're going to continue on. I'm fumbling already, but whatever. This is kind of how solo play goes. You have to kind of interpret what happens. Sometimes you retcon some stuff. We're in 3319. That's our first hex. We have a teenage boy who apparently is coming with us now. And fleeing because his village has been taken over. And we are going to try to go. I'm going to use these black and white maps. It's easier to see, not as pretty. We start in 3319. Right. Oh, below Mario. The heck yet am I? 3319 right here. We started right here. So we're going to try and go up to 3218. And I have to do a navigation check. Let's see, where's my little hex rules? So I have a navigator. My navigator is going to be the wizard. Our half-orc, he's got high intelligence. So his role when we're traveling is navigation. I wrote that down here. Nav. Crow is going to navigate us. And we need let's see, we did the random encounter check. Resolve the icons in order. We only had one icon. Camp, we're not camping. Navigate to next hex is intelligence, easy, 9. 20. So we get to the next hex. I hate to waste a 20. Usually I would do something fancy there. Like, we get to the next hex quick, I guess. Do we get an extra hex? No. But we definitely get to the next hex. It's 3218. 3218. Still on the first day. Haven't needed to do anything yet. Gonna roll a random encounter. Check. And yes. 3218. Scrolling. Cold and windy with light snow most of the day. Very bright reflected sunlight. Desolate mountains. Arduous terrain. Okay, so now we're at already a spot we cannot make it through this whole... We're in the mountains. We probably should have gone a different way than the mountains then if I had a different option, but whatever. You know what? Maybe that's my 20. We started... I wonder if 3219 is also arduous. If it is, I'm not going to... It's difficult. So I'm going to go that way. That's my 20. We started to head this way and realized it's even rockier. So we're going to go 3219 instead, which is just to the east of that hex. That's my 20. And that way we can get through this hex in the day, because like I said, this one takes two 4-hour trip, 2 4-hour chunks. Crisp, cool breeze of fresh mountain air, sunny and bright throughout the day. Wooded hills, difficult terrain, visibility is poor. Difficult terrain. So now we're going half as fast. Trails are difficult to follow. The pine trees have covered the ground with layer upon layer of thick needles that can get slippery on a sloping ground. Our random encounter check was a 3, and it's going to be 4. A collapsed military tent with 2 broken poles and a discarded short sword. That's huge. 2 broken poles and a discarded short sword. So we're going to take the short sword for sure. That is huge for us right now. And the short sword is going to go to Renario, who doesn't have a weapon. And great. It doesn't say anything else. I'm not going to do like a treasure. You know what? I'm not going to do a treasure check. But what I am going to do is I'll do my first. I'm going to pause real quick. I'm going to do my first Oracle check. I'll explain that in a second. And I'm going to find a chart I wanted to use anyway. So pause 1 second. Okay, so I'm going to do just a quick Oracle check. There's several ways to do an Oracle. And if you haven't played solo, an Oracle is a way for the dice to make a decision for you. It's kind of like a magic 8-ball. You shake it up and you get an answer. So my question to the Oracle is there anything else of any use or value to us here at all? Because a short sword was left behind. It sounds like a camp that was like, whatever. And right now we're scrounging. So I'm going to do I'm going to say it's pretty likely. So I'm going to give it a 75% chance. 28. Yep, that is within the 70. So 75 or under would give us a yes. And I'm going to use this chart. It's actually a 5e thing, but it specifically was done for solo. Paul Bimler, who runs there's I should know his group. Fantasy Solo. It's a D&D solo group, but he's made some awesome stuff. He's like the man for D&D solo. And this obviously is not D&D, but this is going to come up with a random item, maybe more, but I'll probably just do one unless it's really crappy. So we have 94 and 1. So you roll on this chart a d4. I'm under the 1 category, so there's 400 items on this thing, and it could be anything from crap to something good. So I'm going to go 1 down to 94, and they're randomly placed, so the higher roll is not better or anything. 194. Wads of dirty hair and rags. Well, son of a bitch. So we still didn't get anything, but just to show you, like, 2 things up, there could be a spyglass, set of traveler's clothes, herbs, a vial of cologne, a potion of healing, a light hammer. So all those things could have been there. We got dirty hair and rags. It makes perfect sense for what we're looking at, which is where'd it go? Terra Invictus. Collapsed military tent with broken poles. I mean, it just like a camp that used to be a camp, basically. So all we could come up with was a short sword, which was great. Wooded hills. Difficult terrain, visibility is poor. Next thing on the thing, so I can't show you my screen because I don't know how to do all this fancy stuff when I'm shooting a video, but the way the hexes are laid out in Terra Invictus, and go watch a video on it, Dungeons and Dyslexia, or Dyslexic Dungeons. That guy has a great video on anything Shadowdark. I know he reviewed Terra Invictus. I've watched it over and over. And it'll show you how this is laid out. I'll try and hyperlink some of these at the bottom of in the notes or whatever. So the next thing on the thing is combat. There's an icon for combat. So we have a chance for combat here, and we're going to be fucked if we do it. This area has patrols of 2d4 soldiers. So I'm reading it, so now we're in it. To intercept intruders. If encountered, they will seek to subdue and enslave the entire party. They'll heal fallen PCs. Ooh, instead of letting them bleed out. Well, that's nice of them. I'm going to stop reading there because there is a thing in here. Random encounter check. No resolve. DCs are on page 9 and 10. Combat. DC is Wisdom DC 9. So who is our wisdom person that would be trying to keep it. That's why I wrote this here. Scout, camp, hunt, Nura. She probably should be the wisdom person, but her wisdom is horrible. But if she's scouting, so I'm not going to have her be the wisdom person. I guess it's got to be. This makes sense. Orgo is kind of our leader, even though he doesn't have the highest charisma. He's going to be the one making the wisdom checks at 0. So I still have to roll a 9, which is easy, but not without any bonus. So I got to roll a 9, or we're fighting these fuckers. Sorry for my language. That was a 7. So we're screwed. So this is already over. 2d4 soldiers. The only possibility is, what if I roll low? The rolls have been bad so far for character creation. So we got 4 soldiers. Are we going to fight? I think we're going to fight. 4 soldiers. What's a soldier? They're probably in the book here. They're going to be better fighters than we are. But maybe not. Maybe not. This is where I need to pause, huh? When I'm looking up stuff. Soldier. Woo! AC 15, hit points 10, level 2. We're going for it. They're going to kill us if we fight. But, so here's what happens. 4 soldiers come running in and say, halt! They saw us. We couldn't avoid it. And they immediately are like, you're coming with us. And they're going to enslave us and the teenage boy that's with us too. And it really, they're taking us captive. I'm not kind of supposed to know all of this stuff, which is why I stopped reading it. But what I gather from that is they're not nice, and their intentions are not nice. They are trying to overpower us. So, what does the sleep spell do? Because it's coming into play. I think that's my only chance with this. Range near, so I'm going to wait till they're all in the, in range. You weave a lulling spell that fills a near-sized cube. That's plenty big. Living creatures fall into a deep sleep if they are level 2 or less. Fall into a deep sleep. Vigorous shaking or being injured wakes them. So they don't even get a save or anything. It's just level 2 or less. They're asleep. Oh, I have to roll. I have to roll to cast. That's right. I was like, I don't get a chance to avoid this. Roll to cast. So the roll to cast is 11. 10 plus the level. The level is 1. He's a +2. I don't have any kind of bonus to my spell, do I? So I need to roll a 9 or higher. This is going to bring up a point, too. I'm going to play in in a solo session like this. I'm going to play where we start with 2 luck tokens for the group. You can get more luck tokens. You can use them. A luck token is essentially a reroll. But this is a very important roll at this point. And we're also going to make an enemy if it works out. And if it doesn't work out, we're going to make an enemy anyway. So here we go. I need a 9 because I got a +2. A 6. So we're going to use a luck token. Jeez. A 9. So we used one of our luck tokens. But guess what? The soldiers fall asleep. They have chainmail and weapons. I think because of the sleep is magic, but like vigorous shaking is going to wake them up and all that. Chainmail, shield, longsword. A longsword or crossbow. I don't really want to say they all have longswords and crossbows. That seems, well, that actually does seem reasonable. So I'm going to take 4 soldiers try to bully us, but we put them to sleep. And we're going to take a sword, longsword, Shield. I think I would really only have one shield user, but I'll take two for right now. Two shields. They drop their shields. They drop their swords. We're not going to be able to peel them out of their armor. That's what I was getting at. Because they're just asleep. And we're not going to kill them? I kind of like the idea. If I was going full murder hobo, these guys kind of deserve it, don't they? But if we kill them, we're really in for it. But we'll take the longsword and we'll take two shields. And we're also going to get a random treasure check. What is it? A 50-50? So we'll roll a d6. I like roll high. That doesn't say how. It just says 50-50 chance that in a random encounter you have treasure. So I'm going to roll for it. And a 4, 5, or 6 means we have treasure. And there's a 2. So no treasure. Boo. We really could have used it there. But this is still helpful. And and the crossbow? Hell yeah. And a crossbow. And actually I'm going to take 2. Should I take 3? I don't think they would all have swords and crossbows. But I think I got to take what I can, don't I? This is where I could also use an oracle check. Oh, shoot. I could do this. How many longswords do they have? 1. How many crossbows do they have? 1. So we get 1 of each. But I'm still sticking with 2 shields. Okay, great. So now we're on the run. They're asleep. We got to get the hell out of here. There's a whole bunch of icons. So this is where I'm a little skeptical on what's next. I want to get the hell out of here. I think we can just leave the hex if we want to. There's another thing here that I don't even know what it is. An icon. Let me pause real quick and figure out how I'm going to proceed. Okay, so let's see where we are. So we put these guys to sleep and we're on the run. Now what we have to do is basically get out of this hex. This was our first thing entering the hex, right? Oh no, it wasn't. This was not the random encounter. That was random. Then we did the combat thing. We still got to get 8 hours to get out of this hex, right? So that means we need difficult terrain. Does it say if it's risky? Oh, unsafe. Check every 3 hours. So what does that mean? We're going to make another check for random encounter. And that passes 3 hours. No. Another one to pass another 3 hours. And that puts us, if that took an hour, that's 7. And if that took an hour, that's 8. I think that takes us to the end of the hex. If I understand how this is all supposed to work, I can maybe make one more check. That would put us at 9 hours. But it takes us 8 hours to pass through the hex. But here's the problem. They're gonna be after us. So I think we have to push to the next hex. So I don't think we want to try to camp here. I think we would push through the night, which means we have to make constitution checks. I forgot to look that up. And a navigation check. So first let's do our navigation check. We're pushing. We're trying to get the heck out of here before these soldiers wake up and catch up to us. I don't know how long they sleep. Probably till they're disturbed. So navigation check. Let's see how that goes. 5. Not good. So we are going to get lost anyway. And that's okay, actually. I don't really care about that because we don't know where the hell we're going anyway. It's just going to put us in a random hex instead of the one we want to go to. So we're getting lost, but we also need to make a check for Constitution. And I want to say, I'm just going to wing it. This is going to bring up a rule I know. I could pause the video. I could look up the thing and take as long as I want. This is something to know about. an important thing about solo gaming, but also just being a dungeon master in general. And I'm not saying I'm a good dungeon master. I'm bad at it. But it really doesn't matter what the rule is or what the chances are or anything. All you really need to do is decide what you're going to roll and why and what happens when you roll this number versus this number. So I'm going to make it an easy check. The Constitution check, because it's going to be hard for our group anyway. Can we push on? So a con 9 without getting exhausted. 1. Dwarf is definitely going to be exhausted from this. Krell, 18. He's okay. He can push. He's a half orc. Nura, 19. She's great. She's a woodsy ranger, and a 16. So Renariel. So Orgo, our dwarf, is definitely exhausted. He's pushing. He's got shorter legs than all the rest of these guys, and so he's exhausted from pushing. And a 1 is like really exhausted. What does that mean? He's gonna have a -1 to everything he does. I'm gonna say because of the nat 1, he would have a disadvantage if he has to do anything from here. So we go to the next hex. The next hex is going to be a random hex. I was trying to travel north, so we were in 3219. We were trying to go 3. What does that say? 119. That's going to be our 1, and I'm going to go around on a d6. So we want, like, I don't know, we want to stay close. 3119 is a 1. We might get lost in the spot we wanted to go. Oh no, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 3, 2, 0. Good Lord. We somehow got all turned around. So we're going to 3320. We're exhausted, but we got to the next hex. So let's see what happens. And now it's going to be like we used our torch. I guess. This is where I don't like. Torch rules are hard for me. Dark, overcast skies, thunderstorms in the afternoon, with trees struck by lightning. We see rocky mesa, another difficult terrain. A number of canyons surround this mesa, cut by falling water. The canyon walls contain abandoned clay brick pueblo houses. Okay. Let's make our random encounter check. We do have a random encounter as soon as we get there. And it is to a hazard. The party becomes lost in winding canyons for 2d4 hours. That makes sense because we got lost coming to the hex. Our party leader kind of is exhausted. And we are lost for 4 hours. Lost 4 hours, which means unsafe random encounters. It means we're going to make another check as we're wandering around. We're not even able to rest yet. What we need to do is rest. Not because we need to regain any hit points or whatever, but because we're exhausted. So let's make our... Now it's only a 1 that gives us a random encounter. So we don't have a random encounter. We get through those 4 hours, and we need to rest. So I'm going to say it's kind of like the next morning. It's starting to get light. And I have a rule I use for this. This is something I made up completely on my own. It just is what makes sense. To set up camp, we have somebody in the group who's responsible for finding a safe camp. It's Orgo, our dwarf. Now he's exhausted, so he's in real trouble here. On an 18 wisdom check, he's able to find a safe camp. He's not going to. On a 9 or less, and he's rolling at disadvantage here, it means if we have an encounter, we'll be surprised. So we got a 14 and a 12, so he passed, not the safe. So safe would mean he did such a great job finding a camp spot that was hidden, or a place to rest that was hidden, that we're safe, and we don't even make checks during that time. But we're resting for 8 hours, but we're going to check every 3 hours for a random encounter as normal. Okay? So we'll call it 3 checks because I think we had an hour left on our winding road and plus 8 hours of rest. 1, 2. So we have a random encounter. Should I use this chart here? I don't think so. Yeah, I should. It says to use it. So here we go. 5. Shrine. Oh boy. Shrine of Corruption with 1d4 priests of Yixida clipping silver coins. Here's something, I don't know if I was supposed to do this before. It was pretty clear those soldiers were gonna, bully us. But when there's a random encounter like this, we're supposed to do all this stuff here. Distance. Sure. I don't like this. Close. How is it? Close means they're standing right next to you. If I roll a 1, all of a sudden they're standing right next to us. That makes no sense. To me, we're out in the wilderness. A 1 means when we come upon it, it's close enough they could get right next to us within a turn. So that's how I'm playing this. They could get close to us in a turn. They could get near to us in a turn. Far is they're pretty far away and like we can barely see each other kind of thing. So they're far away. We know what's going on though. Activity, we already know what they're doing, so I'm not going to roll on that. They are clipping silver coins. I don't really even know what that means. What is their reaction to us? I have a charisma modifier that's pretty good for our ranger, who's going to be the kind of the good lord, the person who deals with this kind of stuff. And so we're going to roll and see what their reaction is. And I get a +3, so a 9. Very neutral. So as long as we don't do anything to bother them, they're not going to bother us. I think we can just completely avoid this encounter. So we'll kind of give them a nod. If they're doing something they're not supposed to do, we're going to pretend we don't notice that. And we have one more random encounter check. And we have another random encounter. Holy crap. Come on. Jeez Louise. 5 again is the same thing, so I'm going to just re-roll it. 4. A shady hobgoblin selling bottles of cobra venom for 65 gold pieces. Shady hobgoblin. I have a half-orc in the party. We don't have 65 gold pieces. We don't need to do the distance because... whatever. I'm just going to go straight to the reaction on this one. 7, 8, 9, 10. Curious. I think if I had got a really low roll, I would have played it like he's pissed that we're not buying his stuff and ready to attack us or something. But again, I think we're just going to kind of ignore this. We've had 0 combats in a 40-minute session, but I think I'm going to call it good for the night and see what happens on the next hex. Oh, we do need to rest. Let's rest it up. We finally got rested, right? All that was while we rested? Shit, now that I think about that. That makes no fucking sense. But I'm just going to retcon it to like... it just doesn't make sense. So that was traveling through the thing. We're going to rest at the end of the hex. We pushed through. Only one of them got too tired. We now get to rest. We had... yeah, that makes no sense. I guess I did it wrong. But we're rested because we made all the encounter checks. And I'm just going to play that those encounters happened before we got to our resting spot, not while we were resting. Because none of them were combat stuff anyway. So that's an intro session. I'm not crazy about how it went, but it's it's weird. Sometimes you're playing. I really want to do a video where I just kind of ramble about how I play and what I like about solo gaming and all that. But this we've got a little bit of a story developing here. We've now got a teenage boy traveling with us that we want to get to safety. We're in dire straits, but we at least picked up a couple weapons. And I really want some sort of combat or something where we can sneak some treasure, get some experience, um, and get something happening to get us a little more survivable. But we're kind of there. Kind of there. We'll see how the next session goes. Thanks for watching. I'm Bradu.